Good morning. Good morning. It's 1 minute before noon, and I'm honored to be with you, and I'm honored my guest today here in Messages with me is Ronnie Weiss. What I want to do is give people some time to check in and give you a sense of what we're going to do today. I'm intending that you're excited about the text I'm going to offer you today, and I'm going to make some specific requests of you today. And we'll get on with the beginning of the service because we'll start with our opening prayer. So today is October 4th. It's the first Sunday of October, my favorite month. And the opening prayer. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of light and love work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. So, I'm now asking you to center yourself. I'm asking yourself to, for 35 minutes, commit yourself to be enlightened. Listening to the words of the teachers that are coming through and that actually spark this conversation, because the words I'm going to be offering you are from philosophers and medical doctors and the Western philosophy, so the Western philosophers and the philosophy of the Orient. But to do that, I request that your phone be on mute or silent and at least 2 feet away from you so that you can be with the words I speak. Then I would like you to take our 3 deep breaths. This is that centering. Breathing is so important for centering. So what I want you to do is bring in that golden light, pull it forth from your higher self, mingle it, integrate it at the crown chakra with divine, bring it down through your energy centers to your tippy toes. And then as you exhale, please exhale your week. Exhale your week. The shadows, the concerns, the problems, the doubts, the fog. Exhale concerns. So, okay, 3 deep breaths, and we're going to really take it in. So, 1, 2, 3, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And last but not least, powerfully, inhale and exhale. Thank you. Now, with your dominant hand, right or left, please place it on your heart chakra. Be there with your heartbeat for just a minute. Just be there. And together, let's say, Spirit, flow through us and touch our hearts. Guide us along the path to our fulfillment. One more time. Spirit, flow through us and touch our hearts. Guide us along the path to our fulfillment. So, as I said, I wanted to actually open up with a few words before we get right into the meat of the lesson. And before I read the intention. Right before I came on, I don't know if everyone knows, but SNL began their season, and it's actually in studio with people. And the first 4 sentences that Chris Rock delivered, inside of that I had this big aha moment that I want to offer you, leading you into the information I'm going to give you, because you can please use the information I'm going to give you. And what I mean by that is, what I'm asking you to do is, most of us in the pandemic have had to shut down. There have been no plans. We've had no plans. We can't make any plans. Things have been put on hold for many of us. And on the other hand, there are many of us that went right to work in a very different way and were probably busy at home at work on laptops and in Zoom meetings, maybe more than what was so before the pandemic. And maybe you didn't have the time to sit down, sit back, and apply scrutiny to your life. Yes, that's the gift. That was the gift, scrutiny. So I want, as we're moving through this content, to have you scrutinize your life. Scrutinize what's missing and what's not there, but scrutinize your impact on yourself and others and their impact on you as you've moved through these spaces, as people have moved through this dramatic change. And right now I want to stop, please, and include a prayer of goodwill and health and healing for our president and his wife and our leaders that are suffering now from this COVID-19. And I want to include the suffering of the families of the over 209,000 people in the U.S. that have passed. So we really want to keep them in mind. Please, Lord, tender to them, take them into your heart, heal, love, sustain them with love, faith, and hope. Amen. Now, what we do when we see this scrutiny is I want you then to renegotiate. That's the word. That's the word Chris Rock gave me. Renegotiate. It's time to renegotiate. Not wait to see if things get better. Not wait to things if you can turn things into something that look like your past. That's done. That's gone. Renegotiate with yourself, with the people in your life, with the people that you work with. And you've obviously had to do that to get the job done. Renegotiate. And inside the data I give you today, it will start over here. And I'll share with you what I've seen just in the 10 minutes before we started today. And then create a new plan. It's a new plan of action. A thoughtful plan of new action that reverses bad habits, bad patterns that really were knocking the life out of you before this even happened. Renegotiate after you scrutinize and create a new plan. That's the lesson for this week. And I'm gonna tippy toe in by live post to add a little bit to that. So it'll be around midday, but I'm going to add a little bit to that as I continue to work on mine. Okay? So thank you. Thank you for letting me add that. So the intention of today's message, which I think is really exciting, to consider the proposition that matter reaches upwards toward mind and soul and spirit spirit then assists that urge upward to perfect the vehicle for it to shine more brilliantly. Consider that proposition. Form, function, structure, physical universe, the mechanics are sourced in Western thought and philosophy. And then there's the inherited wisdom of the East about the nature of the soul, the energizing soul. So what we're going to be talking about today is how in 1930, when Alice Bailey wrote this book, based on several experts who I'll actually cite to you, this is what she was looking at, is a global approach to spirituality, a global approach, a synthesized approach between East and West. We have a coexistent duality, and we talk about that. We talk about that we have a soul in the physical plane. There's our body. There's the considerations, there's the needs and demands of the body as perpetuated by the external factors, the world. And at the same time, there's the soul, spirit, and we're actually going to define that a little bit as we go forward. The soul and spirit. And there's this picture we have as human beings, and I know I've had it since my first catechism class of here's me, and then over here, kind of like that little circle above the head in a cartoon, here's soul. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not that, because here's soul, then here's body. Here's soul, then here's body. And that's what we're going to address here. So we have a coexistent duality, but Alice Bailey moves it forward and says, that's not the whole truth. That's not the whole truth. We're at the same time in a trinity. There's a trinity. Life is a potential activity. Life, the vital force of life, of creation. And it needs a field of operation, the earth, the plane, which substance provides. So soul, life force, urgent, creative, needs a field of operation. And the body provides that. So it's not the other way around, that the body provides an opportunity for you to express spirit and soul. No, soul was your expression. And in that expression, as it authored this life, it chose the time and the date and the parents and what opportunities would have been present. Soul, you, soul. And they picked this up. The resultant interaction from that urge in this plane, in this vehicle, is what we might call consciousness of the soul. So the resultant interaction of activity and substance equals, comes up with, creates, moves toward, expresses consciousness or soul. Our soul is moving through us. So when this piece dies, this expression is still there. It doesn't disappear. Energy doesn't die. This is just taken off. Think of this too. Father, Son, and Spirit. Father, life. Son, the substance, the manifestation on this plane. And Spirit, his interactions with, the requests made by Father inside this plane that he was birthed on, moving us towards Spirit. And that was Christ's mission, to move us towards Spirit, to remind us that's who we are, that's who we'll always be. So consider matter then as spirit descending and debased, diminished, reduced, because it becomes dense, the energy becomes dense as it's put into these lower frequencies. And spirit is matter ascending and glorified. Man exemplifies three of these. We know that. Human beings represent three of these. Physical body, the emotional body, mind, but on the threshold of the fourth factor, soul. Now, where Alice took this from at the time was the philosopher Will Durant, the Dr. Pillsbury, who wrote The History of Psychology. These were all developing along with quantum physics inside the early 30s. After World War I, there were things happening. There were things being disclosed and revealed to us. Gestalt psychology. Dr. Cobb on Glands of Destiny. We are going to talk about that. And then Sir Oliver Lodge, Ether and Reality. And I don't know if you know that Sir Oliver Lodge was also had a very committed interest to spirituality, spiritualism, the occurrence of spirit, those spiritual beings after death. And he wrote on Ether and Reality. So, life force, primary intelligence, ether, a creative medium. Ether, a creative, it's invisible, permeates all matter, provides all space, and it's without limit. That was source. Well, why don't we call that source? It builds, it coordinates intelligence, it informs the chemical elements that showed up here. Consciousness, soul, coming to the body was first. First soul intended, then body was created. The body is not an atomistic mechanism, but rather the vehicle of a comprehensive vital energy. And I want to go through that with you. In the 17th century, this was actually discussed, and she cites Professor Stahl, Stahl. He summed it up as follows in his teaching. The body is made for the soul. The soul is not made for and is not a product of the body. The source of all vital movement is the soul, which builds up the machine of the body and maintains it for a time against external influence. The immediate cause of death is not disease, but the direct action of the soul, which leaves the bodily machine either because it has become unworkable through some serious lesion or because it does not choose to work here anymore. Interesting, right? The self is a system of behavior, purposive behavior, emerging from a persistent hope. The hope that life may be made something that has hitherto been, but we know to be realized, for this hope to be realized, this big picture we have a sense of, considering where we've come from, even though we don't have that memory as soul yet, we know and realize we must help to bring about that realization. We must help to bring about that realization. And I want you to know that is your spiritual path. That's your sacred journey. To use this sacred opportunity, honoring this sacred peace, to fulfill on what that soul saw possible when it breathed life into this peace, this vehicle. So Western culture, Western folks see the environment, see the human apparatus, and then they say that the result of the interaction is our human behavior. There doesn't seem to be any before or after. Very succinct, very functional, because Western culturally has been in the practicality of it, a commitment to the physicality of it, the mechanics of it. What's the mechanics of life? And only when something disturbs the mechanics of our life do we then reach out for something else. We got to figure it out first. There's another book that Alice Bailey wrote, From Intellect to Intuition. That's where we're moving to. It ain't here, folks. It ain't here. It's here. And human evolution? Human evolution is moving consciousness up through our centers, up through our physical centers, which we're going to talk about now, and these force centers. So we're going to look at the science of it. So if you actually take, if you can actually close your eyes for a second and third eye view yourself, you can see yourself, your image. And know there that there's this physical energy going on, but there's also internally, inside this body, because this is not dense. This body is operated from the urge of life. It's operated through a frequency. It's a frequency. And so it can be healed. It can be healed by frequency. As light can impact ether, so you know the healing hands of a Reiki master, as light can add and impact ether, our etheric body, sound, frequency, impacts matter. This was all known and discussed in the 1930s. So when we see ourselves healing, we can see people now especially beginning to see that it's not just the mechanics anymore. We're not going to treat the symptoms anymore. We're undergoing a look at what's the condition made present. And not only is the condition made present by our environment, our condition is made present in this very sacred vehicle by the ethers. Where are we off? Where are we off from what we're committed to? Where are we off about our evolution? Where are we stuck in this flow of energy through our energy bodies? As we've said before, evolution is the expansion of us moving from the predominantly physical, the base, root, and sacral, below the waist. Those deal with our physical being. And as man evolved over the last 50 years, those were the wounds, those were the places, that was the energy that was recognized. Do I need fed? Am I safe? Recreation, reproduction, the sexual organs. Not as a function of expression, but as a function of the physical, maintaining life. Then moving to the sacral of I am here and you're there, just about the basics when you talk about cavemen. I'm here and you're there. Sacral, I am. Now, how do we promote the evolution of our energy? Is by understanding, holding on to, standing in. There was an intelligent purpose to these centers in our bodies, and they're related to the glands that are inside our body, which is why the book isn't entitled Body and Soul. It's titled The Soul and Its Mechanism. The Soul and Its Mechanism. So when we look at the science that Alice provided in this book, and these doctors were very succinct about it, if you have a piece of paper, but you can do this in memory, because you know that there's the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and the root or base. The glands, the important glands, the enzymes, the life force, the juices of our body, manifested by this life urge, are consistent with our force centers. So for instance, the pineal gland in the head. The pineal gland in the head sights us. It's located near our crown chakra and sights us in the spiritual domain. The pituitary, anterior head, relates to the third eye. The thyroid at the throat. It's at the throat chakra. The thymus is in the upper chest, close to the heart. The pancreas is in the solar plexus region. The adrenals are behind the kidneys, close to the sacral. And then, of course, our gonads, our reproductive organs, the testes and the ovaries, are in our root, our base. And as man has been able to understand his glandular system, some of these folks have taken it on to look at the health and well-being of this vehicle in association with the fourth center, that energy center that's reflected. And the impact on each impacts the other. Expanding your energy fields impacts the health and well-being of those glands. The health of those glands impacts your expression, your availability to be that spiritual being in the earthly plane. So I'm going to read some of these. For instance, the pituitary, location of the head behind the third eye, we're told that it's a gland of continued effort, of energy consumption. It's believed to stimulate the brain cells and have a direct and important bearing upon our personality. It's connected to our emotional and our mental qualities. The third eye, what we see. And if we remember, what we see is based on who we are as an observer. The thyroid. The thyroid has a close connection with memory connection to perception and precepts. And there's a place from where you identify, by voice, you identify what you see. So the experience of the divine, the third eye, and the throat chakra that we express after we see, and that's related to the thymus. I won't go through all of these, but the important part of this is that there's a physical reference to these very important enzyme-producing, oozing glands in our system. There's no accidents. It's fascinating. There's no accidents. That this vehicle is sacred. This body is a vector. Where you are here, the disease here, indicates what may be out here, what may be shadowed, what may be closed down. So then you begin to think of the importance of people who do light healing and who do electrical healing, who do frequency healing. And it's important now, and it's important to see this now, because there's being revealed now, which is as important as when we discovered the world wasn't flat. There's coming into being now that the healing processes are not systemic. The healing processes are faith and hope and love and energies, and exist outside of us here in those instruments that can increase our frequency. Sound is being used to heal. We already know music brings healing, but we're talking about it used as a tool now. Frequency used as a tool to heal body because of its relationship to the ethers. So I'm very fascinated by this, and I hope you are too, as we keep talking about this, because it's important to now to begin to, I'm going to read a little bit of this closing chapter to you. It's really important. The soul is always the great reality, the expression of the one life, which is made up of the etheric bodies and the dense bodies. It is the soul force playing upon and functioning through the etheric body, which evolves the specialized centers in that body, and which in turn act upon the physical. A well-being. And this is why I'm asking you to go back and scrutinize. Where are you not well? Where's your environment not well? Time to renegotiate, because you are not fully expressed. If not all of those 4 centers are opening, that's your evolution. That's your journey. Have you moved past having those dominant basic energies of the first, second, and third chakras moved aside and moved through and brought up to that next chakra, the heart chakra, the mind of a soulful being? Are you evolving? Are you moving beyond the physical concerns of the plane not here? Or are you still operating as if that's the priority? Those are important. This, as I need to get to it, because it's the other way around, folks. It's the other way around, remember? Awareness, mastery, divine, the divine connection. The question which appeals most strongly to the Western mind is how to achieve greater efficiency in operation. Man, the soul, is limited in his operating efficiency by the condition of his instrument. But there are 3 theories, because there is that hope for understanding that that's not sufficient knowledge, and it doesn't give us the experience we need to work with the superior intelligence. The 3 theories that Alice is working on in here is, as man's glands and nervous system are, so goeth he or she. Temperament, natural qualities, personality, intelligent handling, of life experience and of his environment. Those are decided by the wellness of his endocrine system. And that is what the West says. So fix this, this will work out. The Orient says, as a man's centers are, so is he or she. And we have the magic of the healing of the East. This study, they have the meridians of the energy points. Acupuncture, for instance. The miracle of acupuncture to us as Westerners, when basically what they're telling you is they're dealing with the energy flows and the meridians and those energy points in the body. They say that quiescence or the activity of certain focal points of energy in the human etheric body determine his or her character, his or her method of expression, his or her type, and also the tenure of the body. That these activities, his or her activities on the physical plane, are entirely dependent upon the quality of forces through these centers. So says the East. And then the third, the synthesis. The glands and neuroses, as well as these energy centers, are conditioned by the control or lack of control exerted by the soul. There is a way whereby we can ascertain that we're really a soul and able to control our instrument of expression. The threefold lower nature, the sum total of our psychical and mental states. It's possible to bring about a union of the wisdom of the East and the knowledge of the West, so that the best aspects of each system can be available. But we've got to be willing to start with this hypothesis. We've got to be willing to start there. And then begin to look at ourselves as an energy body. As an energy body. So consider this then, the importance of these magical cells in our body. And consider this, what we eat. What we eat. Just based on what I've read here, I'm renegotiating what I eat and the proposition of vegan. Who do we lay down with? When we lay down in sacred sexual union and there's an exchange of fluids, there's a taking up of the other person's energy. Are we treating that as that sexual union? Are we treating that with respect and honor? Do we know it's sacred? Do we really understand that it's sacred? Have we moved past the urge and moved into the choice, the expression from the heart, the intention from the heart to offer something inside the sex act? What we breathe, what we say, the vibration of our words, angry words, nasty words, curses, and the opportunity of healing in songs and music, an expression of appreciation and gratitude that lifts your energy. The movement of the body in yoga and dance. Something to consider, right? So allow ourselves to acknowledge soul is the life urge, pushing through this vehicle, utilizing these magical glands and systems to invoke a possibility for the energy centers that impact the outside externals, not the other way around. Not come on in, do what you do the dance with me, see if I can make it. And that strength from, quote, making it offers some virtue in some sort. No. Your body is urged forward by your soul. Honor it. Spend time with it. Spend time with your soul. That's the importance of the quietness and the stillness, because you will inform yourself where there's an out, where there's a difficulty, and you will inform yourself as to the care that needs to be taken. Allow, affirm. So allow, affirm the scrutiny, then affect a change with a new plan that alters bad behavior, negative patterns of behavior, toxic relationships, ignoring who you are as a divine being. More to come, more to come. In closing, the majority of us lead quiet, unheralded lives as we pass through this world. There will most likely be no ticker tape parades for us, no monuments created in our honor. But that does not lessen our possible impact, for there are scores of people waiting for someone just like us to come along. People who will appreciate our compassion, our unique talents. Someone who will live a happier life merely because we took the time to share what we had to give. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have a potential to turn a life around. It's overwhelming to consider the continuous opportunities there are to make our life felt. Leo Biscaglia. So we're going to end a prayer with my favorite person, Ronnie, who's sitting here, who can just sit here. She doesn't have to work because she's already done the work. To close our... Now I want to also share that one of the things that I'm offering is a one-day retreat that's been posted. And I'm really, really recommending it. This is really a bargain. This is really a bargain. But it's away from your home. It's away from the externals. In the mansion, which we have as an Airbnb. And it's an opportunity to be with me for, first of all, reading and an arc reading to see what's going on. And then the opportunity for study, for reading, for meditation, for interaction, to actually produce for you an enlightenment, a knowing of yourself not possible before because you just didn't take the time. That's what I'm committed to. So I ask you to take advantage of it. I've actually shared it here about calling. But this is on Facebook. It's online. I'm not kidding. I don't care what day of the week is. Most likely it won't be happening on Sundays because of what we do here. But I'm available. I'm committed. And folks, to wake up, you really have to sit still, commit, and take the necessary actions without anything else in your way. So please look into that, okay? So here's Ronnie. This is the Sacred Journey. This is the Sacred Journey of Life. I actually get moved by our name. This is the Sacred Journey of Life Spiritual Center and Healing Order, committing to your coming to a consciousness that impacts your life, frees you up, and has you be that wild, magical light in the world. That's what we're committed to. I request donations at the Sacred Journey of Life 2020 at gmail.com, please. And I request you be in touch. Comment on our postings. Call and ask for consults if you just want to get a check-in, a checkup. Please. I'm honored to be of service.
I hope you enjoy it. It's from the Disney movie Aladdin.
Oh, goody. I like this. This was so much fun for me to sing. You
I'm
can't
glad.
hear me, right?
Yes, you can, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm glad they're going to get to know you love this song.
Hi, everyone.
Sorry, it didn't start.
Let's start.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now this whole new world with you. A whole new world, that's where we'll be. A thrilling chase, a wondrous place for you and me. Have
Thank
a
you, Ronnie.
glorious
You
day,
did good again,
everyone.
huh?
Thank you.
Thank you. So, wonderful fall weather out there, dealing with a lot. And I'm sure you're all dealing with a lot too, because we're still dealing with the pandemic. But we want to wish you well. We want to again offer whatever we can offer you. Grace, love, light. Please check in with us. Again, Michelle Sailing, Spiritual Director for the Sacred Journey of Life, Spiritual Center, and Healing Order. Allow me to be of service. I love you. Namaste. Go get 'em.